Hey students, so today I'm going to go over the Odyssey Book 1 discussion assignment. So as you can see, there's one for period 3, one for period 5, one for period 6, and one for period 7. So when you log in, depending on your class period, you will have a discussion post to answer. So if you click on the discussion post, that's where you'll find this video and the text. So I'm going to go and I will go over the Odyssey for you, what we did in class today. The Epic. Extraordinary heroes in pursuit of hideous monsters, brutal battles fought and perilous quests undertaken, spectacular triumphs and crushing defeats. The epic, still very much alive in today's novels and movies, began thousands of years ago in the oral tradition of ancient Greece. There, listeners gathered around poet storytellers to hear the daring exploits of the hero Odysseus. Across storm-tossed seas, through wild forests, and amid countless dangers and subsequent narrow escapes, the hero, motivated by a singular focus on his objective, prevails against all odds. It's no wonder that Homer's Odyssey remains one of the most beloved epics in Western literature. It captivates us and carries us into a time and place quite different from, yet somehow similar to our own. Characteristics of an epic. An epic is a long narrative poem that recounts the adventures of an epic hero, a larger-than-life figure who undertakes a great journeys and performs deeds requiring remarkable bravery and cunning. As you begin your own journey through Homer's epic, you will expect to encounter the following elements of the epic. The epic hero possesses superhuman strength, craftiness, and confidence, helped or harmed by gods or fate, embodies qualities valued by the culture, overcomes perilous situations. Epic plot depicts a long, strange journey filled with such complications as strange creatures, treacherous water, divine intervention, large-scale events. Epic setting includes fantastic or exotic lands, involves more than one nation or culture. Archetypes, characters and situations recognizable across time and cultures. Brave hero, sea monster, suitor's contest. Evil temptress, loyal servant, buried treasure. Epic themes reflect universal concerns such as courage, loyalty, beauty, the fate of a nation, life and death, and a homecoming. Alright, let's turn the page. The language of Homer. Since Homer's work originated as ancient Greek verse, you will read an English translation. Many translations of the Odyssey have appeared over the years, and each translator has interpreted differently. Consider, for example, these two passages from Book 2. The first adopts a formal tone that is much closer to the original. The second verse employs a more conversational voice. Translation 1. When primal dawn spread on the eastern sky her fingers of pink light, Odysseus' true son stood up and drew on his tunic and mantle, slung on a sword belt and a new-edged sword, tied his smooth feet into a good rawhide sandals, and left his room, a god's brilliance upon him. Translated by Robert Fitzgerald, 1961. Translation 2. Dawn came showing her rosy fingers through the early mist, and Telemachus leapt out of bed. He dressed himself, slung a sharp sword over his shoulder, strapped a stout pair of boots on his lissom feet, and came forth from his chamber like a young god. Translated by W. H. D. Rouse, 1937. The people of ancient Greece who experienced the Odyssey heard it sung in a live performance. The poet or another performer used epic similes, epithets, and allusions to help keep the audience enthralled. A simile is a comparison between two unlike things using the words like or as. Homer often employs the epic simile, a comparison developed at great length over several lines. For example, the epic simile in the following passage compares an angry Odysseus to a roasted sausage. His rage, held hard in leash, submitted to his mind, while he himself rocked from side to side, as a cook turns a sausage, big with blood and fat, at a scorching blaze without a pause, to broil it quick, and he rolled left and right. An epithet renames a person or thing with a descriptive phrase. To maintain the meter of the poem or complete the line of verse, the poet will often use an epithet containing the necessary number of syllables. So, for example, you go and you have Harry Potter. Harry Potter is also called the boy who lives, and so you know the boy who lives and Harry Potter, the same person. Same thing with Lord Voldemort. He who shall not be named, or he who should not be named, is an epithet. So, for example, Homer often refers to Odysseus by such epithets as son of Laertes and raider of cities. An allusion is a reference to a literary or historical person, place, event, or composition. So this is very important in 9th grade for you to understand allusions. That's when you have references to famous things. So, for example, in Telemachus, Odysseus' son beholds the palace of Menelaus. He exclaims, "This is the way the court of Zeus must be." Every listener in Greece immediately understood the allusion to Zeus, who is the ruler of the gods. So at this point, we're going to turn the page. Reading the epic. Any journey through the Odyssey offers the reader a complex experience. On one level, Homer provides an action-packed narrative and makes us eagerly anticipate thrilling step in the adventure. On another level, readers can analyze and appreciate the poem as a work of art. The following strategies can help you navigate your own voyage. Reading the epic as narrative. Pay close attention to the change in narrators. Who is telling a story at a given point? Consider the ways in which different narrators deepen your understanding of characters and events. Visualize the setting and action by observing key details in the text. Note major events and conflicts and try to predict their outcomes. Use a chart like the one shown to track characters, including gods and goddesses. Categorize characters as friends or foes and explain how they help or hinder Odysseus' efforts. Characters who help. Goddess Athena pleads with Zeus to help Odysseus escape from Calypso's island. Characters who hinder. The god Poseidon stirs up powerful storms that cause a problem for Odysseus and his crew. Reading the epic as poetry. Read the epic out loud and listen for sound devices such as alliteration, meter, and rhyme, and notice how they reflect and enhance meaning. Follow punctuation closely and remember that the end of a line does not indicate the end of a thought. Consider how imagery and figurative language, including epic similes, reveal characters and events. Note allusions and epithets. Reading the epic within the context of its time. Look closely at how Odysseus behaves. What character traits does he display? What do these traits tell you about the value of the time? Draw upon your own prior knowledge of ancient Greek civilization and history. What events and customs would have influenced Homer? Remember that the Greeks of Homer's time believed that gods took an active interest in human affairs. In fact, gods themselves behave very much like humans. How do such religious beliefs influence the epic? So we're going to go and turn the page. Examining the Homeric Epics. Consider the greatest masterpiece of the epic form. The Iliad and the Odyssey present high drama and intense emotions. In both books, important plot elements include the interference of gods in human affairs and the epic heroism of central characters in the saga of the Trojan War and its aftermath. The Trojan War. The legendary conflict between Greece or Achaea and Troy began around 1200 BC. Paris, a Trojan prince, kidnapped Helen, the wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta. Menelaus recruited the armies of allied kingdoms to attack Troy and recover his wife. For 10 years, the Greek forces held Troy under siege, but they could not penetrate the walls of the city. Finally, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, came up with a plan to break the stalemate. He ordered his men to build a giant wooden horse. One morning, the people of Troy awoke to find that horse outside the city gates, and no Greeks in sight. Assuming the Greeks had retreated and had left the horse as a peace offering, they brought the horse inside the gates. They soon discovered too late that the horse was filled with Greek soldiers and that their city was doomed. Heroism. Greek heroes play a key role in Homer's epics. The Iliad tells the story of Achilles, the mightiest Greek warrior, and his bitter quarrel with Agamemnon, brother of Menelaus and commander of the Greek forces at Troy. The tale climaxes in a fierce battle between Achilles and Hector, Paris' brother, and Hector's subsequent funeral. The Odyssey recounts Odysseus' adventures as he struggles to make his way home post-war Troy, along with the conflicts that arise in Ithaca just before and after his return. He prevails against gruesome monsters, enchanting women, and greedy rivals intent on preventing him from reaching his objective. Although Odysseus lacks the superhuman martial abilities of Achilles, he employs great cleverness and guile to get out of difficult situations. The intervention of gods. Adding to the hero's struggles are the residents of Mount Olympus, bickering gods who like nothing more than influencing and manipulating human affairs. For example, Athena, goddess of wisdom, supports the Greeks in the Trojan War. Aphrodite, goddess of love, sides with Troy. Further, the heroes often displease other gods who place additional obstacles in their paths. The Olympians display human shortcomings and petty jealousies, and people become pawns in the gods' pursue advantages in their internal quarrels. So at this point, we're going to turn the page. Background. Homer may have lived sometime between 900 and 800 BC, if he ever lived at all. Although the ancient Greeks credited him with composing the Iliad and the Odyssey, people have long argued about whether or not he really existed. Many theories speculate on who Homer may have been and where he may have lived. Details in the story suggest that he was born and lived in the eastern Aegean Sea, either on the islands of Chios or Smyrna, and that he was blind. Whatever position modern scholars take on the debate, most believe that one or two exceptionally talented individuals created the Homeric Epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Each contain 24 books of verse, but they probably predate the development of writing in Greece. The verses, which are originally sung, gradually became part of an important oral tradition. Generation of professional reciters memorized and performed the poems at festivals throughout Greece. By 300 BC, several versions of the book existed, and scholars undertook the job of standardizing the text. Homer's poems profoundly influenced Greek culture and as a result contributed to the subsequent development of Western literature, ideas, and values. The Roman poet Virgil wrote a related poem, the Aeneid, in Latin, and Odysseus appears in Dante's Inferno. Poets throughout English literature, from Geoffrey Chaucer in the Middle Ages to William Shakespeare in the Renaissance to John Keats in the Romantic era, have found inspiration in Homer. James Joyce's 1922 novel Ulysses, the Latin form of Odysseus's name, transforms one ordinary Dublin day into an Odyssean journey. Dozens of movies have retold the saga of the Trojan War and the long journey home, both directly and symbolically. For thousands of years, people have taken the tales of a wandering Greek bard and made it their own. Let's turn the page. So today we're only importing on the important characters in the Odyssey in Book 1. Helios, the sun god who raises his cattle on the islands of Trinica. Zeus, the ruler of the Greek gods and goddesses, father of Athena and Apollo. Telemachus, Odysseus' son, and Penelope, Odysseus' wife. So, at this point, we're going to read Book 1. Part 1, The Wanderings of Odysseus. Book 1, The Goddess Intervenes. Sing a me, muse, and through me tell me the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending, the wanderer, harried for years on ends after he plundered the stronghold on the proud height of Troy. And so a muse is a daughter of Zeus credited with divine intervention, and the word harried is an adjective that means tormented or harassed. He saw the townlands and learned the minds of many distant men, and weathered many bitter nights and days in his deep heart at sea, while he fought only to save his life, to bring his shipmates home. But not by their will nor valor could he have saved them, for their own recklessness destroyed them all. Children and fools, they killed and feasted on the cattle of Lord Helios the sun, and he who moves all day through heaven took from their eyes the dawn of their return. And so, what happens in lines 11 to 13 is a reference to an event occurring later in the poem, an event that causes the death of Odysseus' crew. Of these adventures, Muse, daughter of Zeus, tell us in your time, lift the great song again. And so this is italics, and it's summarizing what happened. The story of Odysseus begins with the goddess Athena appealing to Zeus to help Odysseus, who has been wandering for 10 years on the sea, to find his way home to his family on Ithaca. While Odysseus has been gone, his son Telemachus has grown into manhood, and his wife Penelope has been besieged by suitors wishing to marry her and gain Odysseus' wealth. The suitors have taken up residence in her home and are constantly feasting on her family's cattle, sheep, and goats. They dishonor Odysseus and his family. Taking Athena's advice, Telemachus travels to Pylos for word of his father. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, the evil suitors plot to kill Telemachus when he returns. Oh boy. So that's Book 1 of the Odyssey, so now we're going to do our discussion post based off of Book 1. So this is what the assignment looked like. Students, we have just read Book 1 of the Odyssey. Please answer the following questions based on Book 1. Goddess Intervenes. And so what I did was I have the text right there, and the text is going to be so that when you're at home, you can go and answer this in case you weren't here at school today. So look at lines 1 through 17. So you're looking at lines 1 through 17. That's all of this, right? Dun, 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 dun. So why did the author include the details about why Odysseus' men were killed? So first things first, what you guys should do is that you should copy your questions over here. So we got to copy the questions. And so I'll make it big for you guys to see. So remember that we're replying to this. And so why did the author include the details about why Odysseus' men were killed? And if you remember over here, especially in lines 11 through 13, which I bolded for you guys, Odysseus' men went and they feasted and they ate the cattle of the god Helios, and Helios is the sun god. And so as a result, because of their own choices and their recklessness, they died not because of Odysseus, but because of their own recklessness. So I'm going to write here. So the author includes the details about why Odysseus' men were killed, because it is made clear that the men perished because of their choice to eat Lord Helios's cows. It is not the fault of Odysseus. So at this point, if you need to pause the video for question 1, please go ahead and pause the video. Question 2. Look at the italic text. The italic text is down here. And so in the italic text, we need to describe the conflicts that Odysseus' family face. So while Odysseus is gone, his wife has been bothered by suitors who want to marry her and gain Odysseus' wealth, while the suitors are also trying to kill Telemachus because Telemachus is the prince. So they don't want him to go and take over his father's kingdom. So while, let's make this bigger for you guys, bigger and red, big red. All right, so there we go. While Odysseus was away, his wife Penelope must defend herself from suitors who want Odysseus's wealth and property. Meanwhile, the suitors are also conspiring, which means they wish to kill Telemachus, his son. So I'm going to make it even bigger for you guys. So yeah, at this point, if you need to pause the video for the answer for number 2, please go ahead and pause the video. Alright guys, so this is what we did today. I hope you go and submit this assignment by pressing post reply, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!